All right. Somewhere we gotta see. We gotta find Rosanna, Dana, Anna. Let me see. Anyway, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. You know who this is? This We're Party Marty. Let's Talk show. Let me help walk you through what we're going through at the same time, so we can learn. I want you to listen on air and stuff so that you know the difference when you.
No,
Gene, okay, are you? We sent you the link. Is that the link? Because I don't really see you.
I'm in the link that you sent me. I'm
Okay.
waiting for y'all.
We're already in. Let me do it again. I'll send it again. Bye bye. All right. Anyway, if you're chiming in there, we call ourselves I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. Donnie is trying to teach me how to do a little more, and evidently I'm doing a little better, but I don't quite have it yet. Bear with me, please. Let me get our esteemed. Uh, Let me get Rosanna, Dana, Anna in there. Hi, baby. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Life is great. Actually, couldn't be better. I see the different slots here. I guess when Rosanna, Dana, Anna comes in, I would see her and I would click her in. Isn't that how it went? See?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. What we do is we talk about a bunch of different topics. Um, uh, about important events happening in the world today. Our historian is Rosanna Dana Anna. Her name is Gina Lee. Okay, there she is. Let me see. Let me do my thing. Add to stream.
Hey,
Hey,
I think you
Rosanna
must have
Dana
sent
Anna.
me a old link. Hey,
I
Hey,
probably hey that look that's what goes on when Cece, who's the problem, and Donnie, who's the
oh
problem,
Lord, Lord,
are going
Lord,
off and
Lord,
telling me
but
what to
what?
do. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? They've been doing everything for me all along, and now they're saying you can do it and all that kind of stuff. Well, evidently I can't. That's what you got
God
to do.
forbid.
Oh my God. No, she didn't. Let me tell you something, Cece, so that you know for the show goes over any further. You know what? You've never been married. I've never been married. This is our first marriage. Most people know I got two. Everybody got two or three marriages in their life. Don't don't forget. I can get married two more times. I can start practicing. You know what I mean?
But
Don't.
you, but you,
never,
but you
you'll
only got
never
one
find
life.
one like
I,
that.
I, but he only has one life. I advise him to preserve it and be quiet and still.
There you
Oh,
go, there you go. You'll never find another one like that.
yeah, you ain't telling no lie. You ain't telling no lie. All right, y'all. We moving right along. What we're doing now is we're doing some things on the wing. First of all, let me pay homage and respect to our producer and fearless leader, Donnie Glover. He's, trying to teach me a few things. He runs everything by C, who is our technical person. If you know, the other person that's on the end, Gina Lee, is our historian, and it's called I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk. So I'm actually the spearhead of the group, I guess you would call. But let me tell y'all something out there in podcast land, as I've dubbed it. You need a team. You need a team. I don't care if you Michael Jordan, LeBron James, y'all just lost. AD went down. He couldn't. Everybody talk about. I don't believe LeBron didn't do it. He didn't do it because his whole team has been based on having AD. You know what I mean? But when AD went down, it wasn't the same. Brenda Bailey, good evening. How are you? We'll chime in with you because we got a part to say to you too. Brenda Bailey, we call her BB from work. She's over there chiming in as usual, and we appreciate her. She's our first award winner from our event that hi everyone. She's our first award
Hey,
winner.
baby.
Yeah, our first award winner from the participation. We'll be telling her exactly when we're getting it together. I don't know if we're gonna finish with this episode to find out exactly when we're going because that's on Gina Lee. Gina Lee is a historian. She came up with this idea that we're going to be going to different ventures. And we're going to do some scavenger hunts, some different stuff. You know what I mean? All these things sound crazy to me. I leave them alone, but it's Gina Lee's way. Every time I think back about that, I think about Gina Lee told me. If you're looking back in our records, Gina Lee explained to us that Druid Hill Park, if you didn't know, a few episodes back, had a black pool and a white pool. Once again, listen, as early as 1956, 57, 58, right around in those years when we were just born. Gina Lee and I were both born in 57. We were friends from the kindergarten. They had black only and white only pools. Now I'm gonna tell you, I didn't know Gina Lee and I. But it was, I don't know how many years of me for me. 14 years I worked at the pool. How long were you there, Gina? About 14,
12.
12. You know, we were there forever. So it's nothing you could tell me about the pool. You get what I'm saying? But I found out, yes, it is. So if you want some information, get some information. There's a black only pool that we thought was nothing, and it has a guard chair in Druid Hill Park near the Atrium Pavilion over there near tennis court, not the major tennis courts, but on the side of the tennis courts. And Gina Lee explained to me that there was a chair sticking out the ground. And mind you, my wife and I own Marty's Moon Bouncers, which is, excuse me, kids party rental company, shameless self promotion, 410-800-6628. 410-800-6628. If you're looking for a party rental, if you're looking for moon bouncers, cotton candy, popcorn, snowball, and the greatest water slide selection in the state of Maryland, our company has it. Give us a call, 410-800-6628. But Gina Lee told me told us giving us some information that chair that looks like a guard chair sticking out of the ground over there, literally, right, Gina? It was a guard chair.
Yep.
It was a guard chair. We never knew that. I ride by it all the time, but I couldn't say it was a swimming pool guard chair because it was filled in, and that's not the swimming pool. The swimming pool's on the other side. So that's some information that we're learning. Okay, y'all. Before we get to our show, we always give homage to some prayer. My daughter-in-law, uh, B, says that once we call it is the word, what we call it is the word faith. If you don't know, that's all God is. That's all prayer is. That's all this faith, believing in something. So without further ado, let me move along and tell you exactly how we do this. We get our prayer in, we have a quick moment of silence, we come back and we start talking about different topics. If you don't know people, I don't care if you praise Allah. I don't care if you praise Buddha, Honorable Elijah D. Muhammad. I don't care if you praise my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't care if you praise blue Cadillacs with sunroofs only on Tuesday at 1 o'clock in Druid Hill Park or green trees. Believe you me, have some faith in something. Have some faith in something. So, without further ado, we get ready to start our prayer, and after our prayer, a moment of silence, and after a moment of silence, we get on to the show. Prayer starting, please. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in our lives. Father God, as we always stand, we pray to you to keep us through your grace and mercy. Father God, keep us in your circle. Keep us warm in your heart. Father God, to the panel, please help us make the words come out right. Father God, to the producer, Donnie Glover, please make him continue to strive to do what he's doing. I mean, this is a tireless guy that probably has a thankless job, but he hangs in there. Father God, to people that's over there fighting them God-forsaken wars all the time so that we can do podcasts and hang out and go to baseball games and eat bonbons, please pray for them. Father God, our special prayer that we always has is people out here that's dying, struggling, trying to get through this pandemic. Please, Father God, please keep them close. Please keep them safe. Please keep them well. Moment of silence, please. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, y'all.
Amen.
We're talking about a few things. First of all, I always want to thank our producer, Black Wall Street, Joe Mann's award. I was one of the early recipients. Thank you very much for the award. I would also like to shout out, Donnie Glover, author, a few books. Donnie Glover, Channel 11 political analyst. You know what I mean? A person that puts up these things. Our producer that gives us a chance to do these podcasts. Please, y'all, please do what you can to support them and keep them well. We'll also remember some uh, uh, um, businesses during the group. Please try to support them if you can. Every morning between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., BeMoreNews.com and BlackUSA.news has a podcast where they talk about important events today. Most of the time are influential politicians, persons of stature and stuff, where they talk about how they're going to save the world. Good luck, good job. And that's what we do. At night from 7 to 8 or 8:30, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, we have different groups. Ours is called It's Party Marty, Let's Talk. We have Sister Biz. We have Roundtree. We have Town Hall meeting. We have lawyers uniting. We have a bunch of groups where we just talk about different information and topics and stuff. So spend some time trying to learn something. I'm going to start today. I'll start the podcast off where we usually do talk for a while and move to the next person. I'm going to start with myself today. My topic tonight, and this is how I do, in case y'all don't know later on. My panel still laughs at me every time I do it, but I'm nice with it, whether they say it or not. But here's how this thing goes. I say as I segue in. I do it like this. I say, Let's see, Party Marty. What's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. And then I give you some.
Before you get started, I just want you to know, you do know you're not supposed to do that to yourself. You know they call that cray cray when you say I'm Party Marty and you actually Party Marty, right? You can just go ahead. You can just go ahead and segue in.
To all of y'all out there that's not married, hold on to that thought. Because when you get a wife and stuff like that, that's what you're going to end up. They always got to tell you how to do something.
I'm just saying, I ain't out here looking crazy, but continue.
Well, anyway, without further ado, as I segue in, before I was, as my wife would always say, before I was rudely interrupted, I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. And then Gina would teach us, we say, okay, I'm Party Marty, reporting for Party Marty, let's talk. Hey, Gina, how am I doing? How am I doing? That's not cray. That's
great.
kind of smooth. Yeah. Hey, listen, y'all. Let's talk about commitment. Let's talk about responsibilities. My topic today is your word and is it worth it? I'm gonna shout out today my good friend Michael Singletary, James Mosier, a friend of mine who's been a big advocate for James Mosier. It's a friend we coach Little League together. We coach umpire. We umpire together for Little Leagues and stuff. He's a friend of mine. He's influential with the racetracks and what have you. And he had tickets tonight for the Oriole game. And when he called me this morning, he said, man, Party, I got some tickets for the game. Right? See, Michael have us on the 50-yard line, the fourth row, sitting over there looking like big shots. You know what I mean? I be looking, hey, Ray Lewis. He turned back around and said, hey, Party. That's how close we are. You feel me? Right around, don't we? We see Manny Machado back in the day. He in the dugout, he in the on deck circle, swinging and stuff. Like I'm looking at him like I'm looking at y'all. We sit on a 50-yard line, 5 rows back behind the Ravens. We also sit on a right behind the dugout with the Oriole game. He has good tickets. And I told him, "Were you going?" "Yeah, I'm going." Rick going, a couple of us going, man. This is big to do. I was going. It didn't dawn on me for 2 or 3 hours that the night was the podcast. So I had to call back and decline. But my message is I call back and decline because I have a commitment. That's important to me. Now, real talk. My wife, the geek, Gina Lee, the historian, actually can run this show without me. They would keep moving right along. Sometimes we drop, I'll be on here or somebody's on there. You'll see us black out or something like that. And you're going to see them keep right on going. We've been doing this for a while now. The show don't stop with one person. Gina Lee, I don't know what's going on now. I don't know if she got a new internet connection, CC, or what the heck's going on. But now her internet is live, vibrant. She used to be all over. She started talking. She be in cyberspace. Gone. We just keep moving. So she get back. She get back in it, don't you see? She started right on talking like she ain't even gone because she was gone so many times. But now I don't know what she'd have done, but she's there. So she keeps us anchored. That's our anchor. Now, it didn't seem like much to the next person, but I want to make mention of that. I would like to have been at the Oriole game. You know what I mean? Cold beer in my hand with the guys talking and stuff like that. But sometimes you have a commitment, y'all. Sometimes you have a commitment, and I like it. This podcast thing. First of all, anything in life that you like, you'll be good at. Anything that you're good at, you'll like. I love it. I think I'd rather be doing this than a baseball game anyhow because I like doing it. But it's once a week, yo. Once a week. You understand what I'm saying? You committed to something for an hour and a half, once a week. Donnie Glover's committed to this thing 7 days a week, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, but maybe 300 times a year. But he hangs in there and he's committed. You feel me? My wife is committed to dealing with her 65-year-old man, husband. My wife is 45. You look like 46 now. If you look, damn, you 46, I gotta get rid of you, babe. No, I
Oh,
didn't. No, that wasn't right. No, that wasn't right. I ain't mean to say that. I'm pray for me, y'all, doing better. But she
believe
was.
me, we praying for you.
But anyhow, my wife is younger than myself, and it's a commitment dealing with an older guy. I lost weight. I had bariatric surgery. I lost 170 some pounds because of my wife and working on that. Thank you. Thank you. Hands up with hands up, panel. You know what I mean? And she puts a lot of effort into that. That's a commitment. Gina Lee is a historian. She's going to start telling you when she gets in her topic, she never has a topic. We give her a minimum of 2 topics because she always carries the show with a lot of energy. My wife always said that, you know what I mean? Well, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. She said, we're going to solve all this because Gina gets 2 topics every episode. Donnie always said, she's a beast. Yeah, she is. That's her thing. It's a commitment to this. She didn't just jump up there and start wheeling some stuff. You always see her with notes and all that. She's doing that. She's putting some stuff together. This is a commitment. When I used to volunteer or speak in the NA meetings and stuff like that, the first thing the people always say is, you know what I mean? I'm here and I'm sharing tonight. And, I started not to come because I really had something to do. That's how most people in the NA rooms, they always start off their conversation how they started not to come. Guess what, y'all? I didn't start not to come. If I told you I was coming to speak at the meeting, I was coming. I was coming. If I said that I'm going to be here for it's Party Marty's Let's Talk, I'm going to be here. I'm gonna be here. You know what I mean? If Gina Lee got all day long and Gina Lee don't put that together in a day. So if she'd had all week long to figure out her topics and do her work and stuff like that for y'all, and she's committed to everybody, y'all just remember. I'm not saying that your commitment has to be to watch I'm Party Marty's Moon Bouncers. I'm not saying to buy from I'm Party Marty. I'm not saying that your commitment is to watch our show. I'm not saying that your commitment is to do your homework. I'm not saying that your commitment is to go to work. But y'all out there in podcast land, your commitment is to all of that. It's to all of that. It's to going to work. It's to being on time for the podcast show. It's to spend time and attention with your wife. Gina Lee and I have been friends for 60 years. It's to respect that 60-year friendship. It's to put a commitment into something, y'all. Anything and everything. If somebody would have told me and my wife that all the stuff that we put up with to become retirees from the great Clifton T. Perkins outstate job would get us where we are back in the day, we still be laughing. Man, I'm this job getting on nerves. I'm sick. Now, we love it, don't we see? They pay us to stay home for the rest of our life. Gina Lee's retard. Know her job and got on her nerves more than one damn time, right, Gina? But when it's all over with, when the smile comes on and you wait for that mailman, right now, it ain't even no mailman no more, is it? You wait for that first of the month when they throw that money in your account because you stayed over there and you put up with these fools for 30 years. How much you hated them, how many times you want to go put your hand around your supervisor's neck, and you didn't. Here's your reward. You know what it's called, y'all? It's called commitment. I wanted to start that off with that. It's called commitment. It's called commitment. That's what people do. She's gonna give you a topic a little later. I'm not gonna surprise y'all with it, but she'll tell you. But some of these things are commitment. Y'all in school, when you got these kids, y'all, and they flunking, and they not doing the stuff they supposed to do, and you run around talking about I'm disappointed kid that he didn't pass and all that kind of stuff. What part did you play? You got a commitment to your children, y'all, to sit down and do their homework with them. It's called homework. It's called homework. Root word home. Work to be done at home. It's called homework. The Ginas pop on here every 2 or 3 episodes about one more thing about school. About one more thing about school, and we talk about what the kids not doing and they're learning. Parents, you dropping the ball. It ain't the congressman. It ain't the mayor. It's not the teacher. It's not our city. It's you. When they down there in Fells Point today, we looking at that sea fighting and stuff like that. Man, the police need to do that. Your badass child is the one out there fighting. That's
Right.
your bad child. Do something with him. My mother, I'm the baby. Before I leave out, I'll tell you, I'm the baby. I got 5 big brothers. And I never forget. I'll leave you with this last story. I waited all this time to finally get my leather coat, Gina Lee, from Diplomat. Diplomat, leather hipster.
Dip.
Burgundy, leather hipster with burgundy, had the gray saddlebag patches on it, and I seen them all the time. Diplomat, diplomat, that's where it's at. Diplomat. They used to advertise it on television. I was down Lafayette Bowling Alley, Jack. I went in there and said I'm gonna have my coat on, you know what I mean, my leather jacket. I knew I was getting it. You know your parents hide it from you, but you know you done went through all the closets because my parents went to work. I knew what my coat was. I rifled through all the stuff. I knew all my toys were, all my coats, everything. That's what we did in the house. We looked at it, we found it. And I saw the coat I tried on 8 or 9 times. And I went over there and I said, Jack, it's Christmas, nigga. Hey, ooh, that's mine. Ooh, for me, I've been seeing it for a week. I done tried it on 20 times in every mirror. But when my mother gave it to me, I still got to act surprised. So that night, it's time for me to go down to the bowling alley. I'm putting my leather coat on. I had on my silk and wool pants. Gina, I had on the alpaca knit with the dog collar. I had on a navy jacket with the no collar, clean as the other side of the deck. Had on a pair of hush puppies, see, like I wear them hush puppies, you call them, they laugh and call them schoolboys and that schoolgirl. I had them hush puppies on. I kept a little brush that I would brush them to keep them cool and stuff out there. Y'all know how I am. I put it together. I'm party. And I put that up on and I went up to the door. I said, all right, Ma. My mother said, where you going with that coat on? I said, what I say, see? I said, what? She mean where I'm going? She said, don't wear that coat down the bowling alley. Them boys down there taking people leather coats. Taking people leather coats? Who gonna take something from me? I got 5 big brothers. Are you crazy? I'm little Auntie Bonnie. I'm Black Purdy. I'm Darnell. I'm Charles Brown. Ain't nobody taking nothing from me. And she said, them boys over there taking coats. My brother Purdy, Black Purdy, rest his soul, agitator that he is. My mother said, where you going with that coat? Guess what he said? Where you going with that coat? I said, I'm going down to the bowling alley. She said, you going down to the bowling alley? Then don't take that coat because them boys down there taking coats. Bruh, Black Purdy said, don't wear that coat because them boys down there taking coats. I said, if you want to find them coats, go upstairs and look under the bed. Your sons of neighborhood thugs have taken everybody's shit.
All right.
You don't want to own up to it. Wasn't nobody in the neighborhood tougher and rougher than the Tates boys. They called us the Tates boys. In Donnie's words, shears. So he always go, shit. Somebody gonna take something from me. Shit. In my Donnie Glover voice. Nobody taking nothing from me. My mother made me take that leather coat on. She would not let me wear the leather down to the bowling alley. But my mother probably knew, but didn't want to come out and say it. You know who was the boys that was taking people coats? Her sons. You want to know who the bad kids were in the neighborhood? They was us. They was us. They had a western that came on. I'm a leaver. It's called the Long Riders, and they were robbing the bank. Was robbing the bank, and they was running out. The guy went to run outside the bank, and he said, help, we're being held up by the James boys. We're being held up by the James boy. The guy shot him in the back. And you know what the guy turned around, he said, hey, being robbed by the James guys, we the youngers. The James brothers, they rides with us. We the youngers. The James boys, they rides with us. You feeling me? You run around and don't know exactly who's who. You know, we ran around. We we was nice and we had a lot of manners and we was respectful and we went to church, Gina, and we was okay and all that kind of stuff like that. We were good, a prominent member, prominent family, the Tate's boys, right? But we was thugs. Mommy, you worrying about somebody taking my coat down there at the bowling alley. Go upstairs and look underneath of the bed. You'll find them coats that everybody's taking. Guess who they are? Your sons. So, y'all, be accountable for your children. Own up to your shortcomings. As they say biblically, current our holy roly Bible told us not here. Worry about the plank in your eye, for you worry about the splinter in mine. I'm never going
Mm,
to be too busy to
mm,
get here for this
mm.
podcast. You feeling me? I'm
Yes.
never going to be too short that I don't get time to tell Rosanna, Dana, Anna, Gina Lee, my friend of over 60 years. Thanks for being my friend and thanks for being here to anchor, and I love you. I'm never going to be too busy to take time out to make sure that my wife has anything and everything that she needs to be a good wife to me because I know that I don't do nothing. I don't cook. I don't sew. I don't clean. I don't do none of those kind of things. My wife does that. But she ain't gonna run around worrying about is there food in the Frigidaire to cook. Huh, Gina Lee? Is the gas
Amen.
electric on to
Amen.
cook it? Is there a car for me to go down there to the dollar store to buy it? She's not gonna be worrying about
Amen.
did I sneak a girl in the back door and all that kind of stuff when she went out. You're not gonna have to
That.
worry about them things. I'm gonna be accountable for these things. I'm gonna be responsible for me. I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. See if you're responsible for you. Are you doing
Absolutely.
homework with your child? Don't tell me what the teacher did. Did you do their homework? Don't tell me
Right.
about how many days that they got on your nerves at work. Did you hang in there for 20 or 30 years to get to your retirement? You'll miss it and you'll be sorry that you didn't do it when you're sitting back at going out to work again, trying to get another job because you don't have enough money. You're going to tell a
Right.
story, y'all. Tell the whole story. What part did you play? And I'm going to segue in and let Gina go off and do her thing. When you start
Mm,
talking about Baltimore
mm,
City public schools and the
mm,
school system, parents, kids,
mm,
teachers, everybody, do your part. You want
mm.
That's
Baltimore to
right.
be better? Be a better Baltimorean. You want the people to stop fighting down the Fells Point and in the harbor? Tell your child how to act when they're in public. Stop doing that. Stop blaming everybody else. Blame yourself. Do a better
And,
job.
and another thing, stop turning a deaf ear and a blind eye. Because somebody's mother looked at that news just like we did and knew that that was their child down there acting a monkey. So don't act like
Exactly.
you don't know why my child, why people always saying my child. That's why. And if you know, if that was your child and you saw that and that was your child, then you're supposed to address it.
Like that
Yeah.
mother that grabbed her son up when the Freddie Gray riots was happening, and she
That's
snatched her
right.
son up, and now he's a honor student from college.
Run tell
That's
that.
right.
Run tell that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Our hero. I don't care what you're doing. You will not do this as my child. You and Madonna, you could tell he wasn't no chump. But did you
Nope.
see him get mad? Did you see him raise his hand? Did you see him talk back to his mother? How about
Nope.
hell no? Did what he had
Right.
to do. Hey, I have a comment here coming up. Somebody help me with reading.
So be patient
So go
over
Go
ahead.
what
ahead.
they say and exalt out loud. Praise of your Lord before the rising of the sun and before its setting. And during periods of the night, exalt him. And at the ends of the day.
Thank
That's
you.
9P Glizzy.
Thanks, Glizzy. Thank you very much for that topic and stuff. You know what I mean, y'all? But real talk, before I segue in, we got too much stuff going on, y'all, about these schools, man. We need to do better. I listen to the conversations that people have, and I shut my mouth because I know once I start talking, it'll come out wrong, and they think it's me because I need to do better with my temper with people and stuff like that. But a lot of this ignorant stuff that people saying, y'all, these schools, all these schools problems ain't the teachers. They're not always the teachers and stuff. It's you. It's you. My
Right.
mother would know if I failed the test, right or wrong, Gina, right or wrong, CC,
Absolutely.
because she checked it at home.
Exactly. They want to
I,
see a progress report, a report card, go to a PTA meeting, pop up at the school. All of those things are part of your job as part of the village. That's your job as the parent to do your part on your end. And then if you've done all you can do and people still not holding up to their end of the bargain, Then you complain. Then you say, what are the schools doing? Then you go to North Avenue or wherever the headquarters is and you make a complaint and do what you need to do. But you can't complain about what they're not doing if you haven't done what you're supposed to do.
Gina, do anybody remember this? How you be sitting there walking through the house and your mother would say, important. And then that was your turn to spell it. That was one of your spelling words. Important. You sitting there at dinner and stuff like that. Your father sitting at the table. She trying to get you in trouble. She wants you to not know one of your spelling words. Y'all be sitting over there eating dinner, everything going. We talking about the Oreos, and my mother all of a sudden would say legerdemain. Oh Lord, here we go. She wants you to misspell that word. But guess what? So you didn't misspell that word. You knew it. You knew that spelling word. You practiced that spelling word. You learned it. One last thing, I always say one last thing. I shout out to the great Northwestern. I'm a Wildcat. Greatest high school in the world. Gina Lee get ready stepping there and say hers, and then there we go. And then Cece probably gonna say hers, but we
Right,
Wildcats,
right.
baby. Let me tell you something, Mr.
Rebel
Ray.
warriors.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Mr.
Only
Ray
your school for the hearts in the building.
Mr. Ray Johnson, my teacher, and stuff like that. One day, I never forget coming, I got a zero because I didn't have my homework. He said, well, where's your homework at? And everybody said that about their homework, and a couple of us didn't have homework. And he said to me, he said, let me tell you how dumb that is to me. I said, what, there you go, Mr. Ray. Here you go. He was the cool teacher, Gina. He was out, Mr. Gibson. He was out, Mr. Gibson. He said, how you get to how you get to school, Maurice? I said, I catch the bus. How many buses you catch? Two, sometimes three. Sometimes I catch the 51 to the 5. Other times you may have to catch the 51 to the 5 to the 7. If you miss a certain bus, you got to catch something else and walk. So 2 or 3 buses. He said, well, who goes to school with you? And it was always a Gina Lee. You know what I mean? It was always a CC. You always had somebody, Peter or Joe. It was always somebody that you know did their homework. Well, I was sitting over there next to Cheryl Croman. Cheryl Croman, you got your homework, Cheryl? Yeah. Cheryl Croman has never not did her homework. How you get to school? On the bus? What bus you catch? The 51. Do you ever see Maurice? Yeah, we catch the bus together today. He said, Maurice, you are too damn dumb to even copy the homework. You was on a bus with her for 3 darn buses. You didn't even have to do it. But before you would even sit next to her for a minute, buy her a chocolate milk or something like that to do your homework, you'd rather come here ill prepared. How dumb is that? Think about it, y'all. Think about it. He said that to me. We all heard it. Nobody else ever got to another class and didn't have their homework, didn't have their assignment. Because back in the day, homework was usually multiple choice. It was true and false. It wasn't no long essay. You took tests in school. Those were the things that you did in school. Homework has 4 or 5. Matter of fact, you know what your homework might have been, Gina and C, remember? Number 1 was B. Number 2 was C. Now, you had 5 darn things you had to write a letter next to the number, and you didn't do that. Come on now. So you know, don't do that. Remember this, y'all. Before I go, remember my mother's report card. My mother told me that was her report card. I don't care if you fail every class. I don't care if you can't spell. I don't care if you dumb or nothing like that. If you ever get over there and fail, learning interferes with the conduct, interferes with the learning process. Remember that little category over there on the right hand side? Miss too many days, unattentive conduct interferes with the learning process, not participating in class. She said, that's my report card. I don't care what you get over there on your side, but if I ever fail, you're going to have problems out of me. People, if your child is not doing what he's supposed to do in school and they failing because of that stuff, maybe the person that's failing is not the child. Maybe the person is you. Now, y'all tell everything else. Run tell that. All right, y'all, moving right along. Y'all done had time to listen to me getting my little thing off. Y'all know that's what I do. Here's what I do now as I segue in, since everybody told me how to do it. And nobody else in podcast land or no shows and nobody has this smooth move that I have. And if you see anybody with it, it's me. Here's how I go. I go like this. I say, Hey, Gina Lee. My name's Party Marty. What's your topic today? Let's talk.
Gina Lee, reporting for Party Marty. Let's talk.
Hey, Gina.
But before I get started, I
Yes.
want to comment on some of the things that you just brought up a few minutes ago.
Let's go.
One of them being commitment. I worked for the state for 35 years,
Damn.
and my new boss had the nerve to say they wanted to cut my salary in half. That was my last day. Mine.
Right.
Okay. So just to show you that God will put you where you're supposed to be if you have served. Okay. God will put you where you're supposed to be.
Yes, Lord.
Just to show you, everybody else had told me to get retirement. It's going to take about a month, at minimum 3 weeks. Okay.
Cookie.
I went
Praise
down
God.
to retirement the very next morning. I was finished with all the paperwork, with everything I needed to do in 4 hours. Four. I was back home by noon in one day. Everybody told me it's going to take forever. Blah, 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 blah. Mm-mm. But
Didn't.
God would put, and at first, of course, I was upset. I was like, how could they do this to me? Blah, 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 blah. I done served, so but as I sat down and quieted and calmed myself, I realized I've done my service. I've made my commitment. God was telling me it's time to rest. He led me out the door. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what I say about that is my mother spent 37 years in the school system herself. Her commitment to education, along with the other members of my family, as you know, are educators. Their commitment to education was unbelievable. My mother would bring children home from her school, give them my clothes, dress them up, and take them to ballet recitals at the Lyric, or take them to a play so they could see people on stage acting that looked like them. Would take them to other schools so they could see the inside of schools that were much better funded than where they went to school. These are the kinds of things my mother used to spend a lot of her own. And I'm sure there are teachers today that do the same thing, that spend their own coins to make sure that children have the educational needs and things that they need in order to succeed in this world. So I'm, as you said, it's not all the teacher's fault.
Yes.
If your child is failing, part of it is because when they come home, they're not getting the support that they need after the teacher has given them the lesson. Okay? So just be mindful that it takes a village. We need to go back to that mentality, that you do your part, I'll do my part. I was listening to a rabbi the other night, and he was saying how the gentleman who invented the revolver, his last name was Colt. He had a factory, and the men that he had working in the factory, each one had a job of putting together this revolver. So I would go in the bin, I'd get the trigger, I'd get the chamber, I'd get whatever else needed to go together to make this gun. But then a gentleman named Smith observed his process and said, you could make more if you specialize. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I'll give you an example. He said, you've got all these people, putting these things together. He said, sure, that's fine. He said, but if you get one man to make all the triggers,
Yeah.
one man to make all the calibers, one man to make all the sights on it, one man to make the hand holding part or whatever, and all of these parts are together, and you give one man the position of putting all the parts together, you can make more guns. So
Assembly
he
line.
did, and he made more. But what they realized is if Joe, who made the triggers, stayed home that day,
Wow.
what happened? The
Guns don't
guns
have any
didn't get
triggers.
made.
Yeah.
Okay,
Killed
couldn't
the
make
whole
the gun.
assembly.
Those triggers. So the point the rabbi was making was the fact that we don't care, we don't connect with each other like they used to back in the day. If Joe stayed home, everybody at the plant would be like, oh, where's Joe? Let's go find out what's wrong with Joe. Go to Joe's house. Joe, you all right? What's wrong? Oh, I don't feel good. I got to, let's make Joe some tea. You need us to go get your medicine. What you need us to do, Joe? Because without you, we can't make the guns.
Uh-huh.
Okay? We don't have that today. Today, Joe can stay home and nobody would give a damn.
That's right. That's right.
We need to connect with one another again. We need to make sure that when, like I said, when one person does their job, the next person takes that job and adds to it. Okay?
Right. And need to
Now,
definitely try to see value in people. You know, people saw value
exactly.
in their neighbors and then, you know, in their co-workers and stuff like that, because everybody's job looks easy until you have to do it yourself. You know, it look
And
easy
the
to
reason,
run a podcast. It look easy to put the moon bounce down. It look easy to be the historian, but it's not. It only looks easy until you have to do it yourself, and then
there
you
you
can
go.
see what work it is.
There you go. I'll give you a moon bounce story. Shoot. Tate bought that daggone moon bounce and cotton candy and hot dog thing out to my family reunion. I didn't know how to put that thing together. I didn't even know where to plug it in. I didn't have the faith because one, I don't have children. So
Uh-huh.
I never put nothing like that together before in my life.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to do all this stuff. What the hell? I was cussing. I was so upset. But
And guess what, Gina? The same.
but this is where you connect with people. All I had to say was, I don't know. And somebody said, oh, I know how to do that. Bang. Moon bounce was up. I said, oh, anybody know how to do cotton candy? You know, and it was done. It was done. All you got to do is connect with people, with their resources.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I said, Gina. Before him, I would look at those moon bounces and say, shit, that's just a big balloon. You know what I'm saying? Until I really went out there with my husband and saw, like, this is a heavy piece of equipment.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's just something you take an air pump, blow it up, plug it up, and hey, it's up. But it's a lot more to it than that. But it looked easy.
Absolutely.
Until I had to be out there helping him or watching him do it. And then I was like, this is not as easy as it looks. So you got to see the value in the stuff that other people do. You know, I don't care if it's the janitor, the housekeeper, whoever. You know, you don't think how important the housekeeper is until you go in the dirty ass bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
The reason the rabbi was bringing this up was the topic he was talking about was why are Jewish people rich? That's why I was listening to it. I was like, okay, he get ready to spill the secrets. And the secrets is because they always rely on each other to support their community, which is what Black Wall Street used to be.
Right.
You know, Black Wall Street, you know, a dollar turned over like 36, 38 times in that community before it ever left. Now you're lucky. You're lucky if a dollar turns over once or twice in a Black community.
And you know what's so sad but just unbelievable sometimes is that our money don't turn over in our communities because we hold our selves, our vendors, our entrepreneurs, our black businesses, we hold them to such a high standard than anybody else. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You can go to Walmart, they'll make you stand in line for 10 hours. You get up there, the cashier be nasty, leave your bag behind, stuff in disarray, and every week you'll go to Walmart. But if
Yep.
you get something from a black-owned business, oh, you was 15 minutes late. We ain't gonna use him no more. We gonna go online and tell everybody this is the worst business we ever dealt with. Why? You can't give your brothers and sisters another chance just like you gave Walmart, who don't even need your money.
And
Exactly.
then you have such a lack of black businesses, because this guy that was on the same show, he was saying how he challenged himself for 3 days, just 3 days, to try to use nothing but black products and go to black establishments and support black businesses. 3 days. He ended up having to sleep on the daggone park bench because he couldn't find a black-owned hotel.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm just saying, way back, W.E.B. Du Bois even said, if we could get up on a black mattress and put on black clothing that was made by black people, and again, this show is not a black show or a white show. We're just saying that in order for us all to succeed, we all have to be on the same playing field. But if
Yes.
a man can get up on a mattress that's made by his culture, if he can put on the clothes that's made by his culture, if he can get up and make his breakfast on appliances that are made by his culture, and leave out of a house that was built by people of his culture, if he can go to a job that's run by people of his culture, if he can die and go to a funeral home that's run by people of his culture, and be buried in a cemetery that's filled with people of his culture, why can't that happen? This makes us all possible of being on the same playing field. Okay,
Give
I'm
'em-
gonna leave it alone. I get off my soapbox. My
Yeah,
topic
no.
for tonight.
Wait a minute. Hold. Give him hell, Gina Lee.
That's
Give him
right. Stay on
hell,
your
Gina
soapbox as
Lee.
long as you want to. I'm here for all of it.
Give him hell, Gina Lee. That's what I'm talking about. I feel you. I know. I sit back and listen. My wife tells me you hit on about 10 topics in 15 minutes. My wife is a singer. When I say my wife can sing, my wife can sing. But she was the kind of person, she came up, they paid her in church to sing. You died at the funeral, they paid her to sing. She sings around the house now, not a lot to me. You feel me? But she always tells a story about the lady who was her teacher. What was she? See,
That's right. My voice teacher at the Baltimore School for the Arts. And just like you said your mother was, she was the same way. Margaret Lindsay Johnson, may she rest in heaven. But I was a little girl from the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? When I went to school for the arts, I thought I was stepping into fame. We wasn't gonna have to do work. We was gonna be dancing on the tables and singing in the halls and having fun all day long. And when I got there, not only did we have to do work, we had to do twice as much work because you had to do work in your major, and plus you had to keep your academics up, and you had to maintain them both, or you would get put out. And after a while, I just was like, this is it. And then the basic premise for, I mean, you play piano, so Gina, that the basic premise for all music, no matter what kind of music you decide to do, they're gonna start you on your learning with classical music. That's learn to read music, learn the history, the theory, all this stuff. I was like, what is this? I never heard of any of this. And
yeah.
I was so intimidated by it until my 14-year-old mind said, well, just give up. You know what I'm saying? You don't really need. I did everything that I could possibly do to get kicked out that school. I hooked school so many days till the teacher came to my house. And just like you said, my mother and my teacher, they got together and they came up with a plan. And I said, they think they came up with a plan. I still ain't going. I'm gonna stop going. They gonna put me out and all this. But one thing that was my drawback, why everybody was so on me, was that learning the music portion of things was new to me, but I was a naturally gifted academic student. I could not go to school for 3 weeks and go there and take a test, don't study, still get a 95 on the test. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I was just smart. So
Mm.
this woman came to my house after they came up with that plan. She must have saw it in my eyes that I was lying because I wasn't going to school the next day. Sure as I'm sitting in this chair, I was going to school that next day too. And she came to my house and she picked me up every day and took me to school to make sure
Wow.
I went. She took me to New York to show me, just like you said, your mother showed those children people that look like them at lyric. She took me. She sung at the Met. Was one of the most beautiful. Had one of the most beautiful soprano voices you ever heard in your life, and she took me there so that I could see her perform at the Met, so that I could know that people that look just like me did this. This was not a waste of my time. That people that look just like me sung opera and did concertos and played in plays and all kind of stuff like that. So I just say that to say that you just absolutely hit the nail on the head with that. Is that everybody gotta work together to make this thing work. Teamwork make the dream work.
You know,
There
we
you
we
go.
have we have Gina, and I'm gonna let you do your topic. We have I want to get in there real quick. We have rest in peace, Carol Turner. We have an educator just like Gina's mother, just like the lady that's in the Carol Turner. She used to have bus trips at the great John Eager Howard, they call it, and stuff like that. She would have a bus trip, and that's what she would do. The kids be going on a bus trip. I said, Carol, what you doing? She in Walmart's, this and that. She tell a guy, come in the classroom for a minute. The bus driver leaving at 9 o'clock. 7:30, bring that bag. I need you to pick this up and bring this to my room, and I bring it to the room. And at 7:30, quarter to 8, she would bring that kid in her classroom, and they would put that little new shirt on him from Walmart that she got me to pick up, them pants and them tennis shoes and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, his whole demeanor changed. His whole demeanor changed because he looked like everybody else. He had new clothes on the trip. He looked like anybody, and he wasn't going to go to school. He wasn't gonna go on the trip. Ma, I ain't gonna go because I got something. Mother didn't had $3, paid for the $3. You know what I mean? You just don't know. I'm gonna leave y'all with this, and then Gina on with you. My favorite thing. I like Broadway plays. I always tell y'all that's my thing. Broadway plays. My mother brought me out. Me used to drag me to them things. Now I just love them. But I never forget my first time going down that scene, Pearly. What? The guy started singing. I
Yes.
was sitting there one night. He said, "The big fish eat the little fish." And then guess what, y'all? The little fish. Come on, y'all, eat the little fish. The little fish. Guess what it eats? It eats the littlest fish, and that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Everybody knows. That's the way the life goes. That's the way it goes. I will never forget that. I had to have been 10. That had to be 55 years ago. My mother drugged me to that place. She was trying to culture me, but I wanted to be a thug. And unbeknownst to me, I was getting cultured later on. She knew what she was doing. It was called foundation, right, y'all? When they start telling you to go to what's it called, Sunday school before you go to church. You get in church, you just sitting there for a minute and ducking all that. But in Sunday school, you learned that. You learned
Yeah.
the Bible. You learned the Word of God. You learned how to get your dusty self together in Sunday school. Gina Lee, I'm no accomplished piano, but I came up playing the piano. E, G, B, G, F. Every good boy does fine. I knew the finger thing. I used to do that. I wish I had kept doing it because they be paying people to sit around and play the piano. You feel me? But we didn't want to do it. We couldn't wait. All they had to do was give us a chance that I could stop one day. If one day they told me I ain't got to go, my father said I ain't got to take piano lessons, I'm going to stop doing it. Anything you're forced to do, you're not going to do when you get old enough. You feel me? If you ain't got to do it no more, you're going to stop. But a lot of people missed out on things. But to the educators, Gina Lee, your mother, thank you.
Thank
to
you.
to the lady that went over there and took time to make my wife what she is so that she could be the woman that I have in my life for the rest of my life that makes me happy. Whatever the lady is, miss, thank you. To the guy that stood over there and sung Pearly when we was at the Mars Mechanic Theater that I still remember 55 years later. Thank you. You know what I mean? The only way sometimes you could do these things is top Gina as she goes on to her topic and it piggybacks on the topic that I started and that Cece jumped in. Y'all, to everybody that played a part, thank you. To the new people out there that's not playing a part, to you parents that ain't playing a part in nothing, shame on you. Shame on you. We let you know what is done for us if you played a part, if you've done something. To BB over there, Brenda Bell, Britt Bell, CC, you know, at the Great Clifton T. Perkins, every time we have a Christmas dinner and fill up the cafeteria with all that food and all that kind of stuff, that's BB. When we have something in the morning, you know who over there cooking BB. The most thankless job, she running around begging people for money. You're the first person over there with the biggest, stupidest plate every time, Gina, in the cafeteria. That is a Christmas party or Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. And BB go home cooking and all that when it's all over with Gina, just like you say. Half the time that we finished taking the collection up, BB was spending her own money. But you say, Gina, your mother never spent on Gina when it was all over, CC? Gina, BB was spending her own money by getting us food so we could have, and we complain the whole time. And then they say, we go 2 East, come get your plate. We run down there, get plates big like this, can't even make it up the steps. But all of a sudden, you want to put up $3. All she asked was $5 a person. You got three. And we all make $80,000 a year. You know what I mean? That's just how we do. We just don't think about it. All right, Jean Lee, back to you. Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay, well, last week, if you remember, we ended the show with me making a statement about how, because of the learning loss and the pandemic, how the differences between Baltimore County schools and Baltimore City schools are going to handle their students. So Baltimore County straight up said there will be no change in our grading system. If you fail, you fail. But we will implement strategies to help you make up the gap in your learning, learning loss. If you feel, and they have already put together tests that they will provide to figure out what students are lacking or need help in, what areas they need help in. Baltimore City, on the other hand, said, I don't care if you fail, I don't care if
Dumb as
if
a
you ain't a
box of
10
rocks.
verse learning or not, you are going to pass. Simple as that. Okay, so they said that if you're in elementary and you have an unsatisfactory grade, or if you're in middle school and you have a failing grade, Baltimore City report cards will now reflect a not completed, not an F, but not completed. If you're in high school and you have a failing grade, okay, it will reflect no credit. The heck?
You
Now,
fail.
first of all, I say this. If you recall, I don't know if everybody that's on the podcast tonight was on a few weeks ago when we talked about schools that had students on the roll, on the roster, that were not attending classes. Then they had students who were on the roster and were being passed with failing grades. They had students who were not being passed. They had one student that had been in the ninth grade for 5 years. Okay? There's something wrong with this system, and I tell you what it is. It's money. The school system is receiving money per child. It's $16,000 a year per child. So they're not going to take that child's name off the roster if he's not coming to class. If he's got out of 185 days, he's been out 180. No, they're going to take that $16,000. That's
Yeah.
300. That's more about $340,000 a year. You think for 1 minute they're going to give that money back? This taxpayer money, by the way. You know, so I just I'm serious, but I'm going to say it politely. I really think the school system is doing our children a disservice by passing them ahead, and they're not ready, because all that's going to happen is you're passing these children out into society and they're not ready. If they go into work for a fast food and the cash register, they're gonna fail. If the register doesn't tell them, if I give you $20 and the order is $19.20, that you're supposed to get 80 cents back, and they can't figure that out, they're gonna fail. Okay? There's a reason that these subjects are important and succeed in life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was and going back to
I know exactly what Gina mean, because some of these things have to be life lessons for you. Now, I remember when I was a kid and I first started learning how to count my money. My grandfather would take me to the mall and he would give me the money to pay for the ice cream. And if I ain't know how much change I got back, I ain't get no change. I said,
Yeah,
the ice cream don't cost $2 bills. I'm supposed to get some quarters back. He said, well, if you want some quarters back, you gotta learn how many quarters you're supposed to get. Because when you go in the store with $2 bills, if you don't know how much change you're supposed to get, they're gonna keep your $2 bills.
that's right. Yeah, you got to learn those things. You know what I mean? And if you knew how to count your money,
I,
as they say, thank a teacher. Go ahead, Gina.
That's right.
I was gonna say that. I mean, it makes me upset to think that back in the day we weren't allowed to read. We weren't
Oh,
allowed to
wow.
read books. You
Gee.
know, this was a crime back during slavery. I mean, and I say back during slavery, I was reading about, which will be my next topic, my great uncle's father, okay, which would be only back in like the 19, maybe 19, I'm sorry, 18, late 1800s. He was taught by the slave master's daughter how to read. You know what I'm saying? But yet his son went on to be a renowned musician, but I'll get to that at another time. But I'm just saying, you got 78,000 Baltimore City students in Baltimore City, and 65% of them in secondary schools are failing at least one class. And then you got 50% of elementary school students failing at least one class. That's sad. That's
That's
sad.
that's real sad.
It
You
definitely
know,
is.
so I implore parents out there, if you're listening, pass on to another parent. Teach your kids to read. Teach them to read, if nothing else, because they believe me. Society
Absolutely.
says if you want to hide some information from us,
Put it
Put
if
in
you
it
a
want to hide
book.
it from us, put it
Put
in a
it
book.
in a book.
in. Yeah.
That that's an ongoing joke. That's an
Yeah.
ongoing black joke. If you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So I just I bring that up because I've got to looking at some other things, but I'll get to that on my other topic.
Well, Gina, great topics. Thank you very much for saying. Very passionate. If y'all know how Gina does her thing, like I'm saying, she does her leg work and does her research. And these topics and stuff that she come up with is something that she wants to hit home with, and that hit home. It hit home because it made me think about the late great Carol Turner. You know what I mean? Carol Gibson was a maiden name from John Eager Howe. If y'all know it, she's an educator, and that's what she would do. She would go off and take your child and raise your child. And she took my dusty self. One of the reasons why I'm still alive today. And I say alive, I ain't talking about 'cause I'm clean and I'm like I'm alive. You know what I mean? Carol came and got me from jail when I went to jail. You know what I mean? Went to the NA meetings with me trying to get me right. I didn't want to hear it. You know what I mean? I just didn't think it could happen to me. But somebody took time for me. You know what I mean? And that was my Carol. That's what she did. You know, y'all run around and figure out everybody that was in their past and what they did and his ex-girlfriend and his ex-wife and that's so crazy. Especially I got advantage because with my wife we don't have that. My rest in peace too. My kid's mother. Every time two get on nerves, I say I should put my hand around your throat. You and Cece getting on my nerve. What Cece and what Toot always say, see?
She said, "Me and Cece will bank your ass too."
Me and Cece bank. That's my kid's mother and my wife. Friends to the end. You feeling me? Friends to the end. I don't have nothing, you know what I mean? As long as CC is good to my children, which is her kids and stuff like that, that's my friend. As long as CC is gonna be good to Toot and stuff like that, because she made this man happy that now makes her happy. That's her husband and stuff like that. Well, how do are you mad at somebody that you don't even know? I'm mad at him because he used to mess with Cece. I don't even know that man 30 years ago. I ain't know her 5 years ago. People just be so confused on how they vent their anger and where they put their direction to. Stuff that don't count. You know what I mean? Like you saying, you spend some time teaching your children. You know what I mean?
Right.
People, I'm gonna pray for a job. I'm gonna pray for a job. Pray for the job, but get the Sunday Sun classified ad. Give God some help. Go try to get you a job.
Right.
Think somebody come to the door. Who's at the door? Job. What? Ain't nobody knocking on the door getting you no job.
Right.
I ain't gonna work at Amazon. Amazon hard all day. They give you $15 an hour on the door. You won't go to Amazon and work though.
And speaking of Amazon, just a quick interjection, really quick for anybody who may be listening. Now Amazon has decided that they will no longer include marijuana in the pre employment drug testing. So for all y'all
I heard
pioneers
that.
that's not going to Amazon because you can't pass the drug test because you smoked a blunt, they don't even care.
Well, let
They
me
don't
tell
even
y'all,
care.
out there in Podcast America, please don't say nothing and act like you don't hear this. Maybe my wife can get a job now because she couldn't have passed near a damn test if they had a drug test going on. My wife is retired. She got that card. She broke them. I don't care. Her son told us that this stuff is almost legal now. It's almost
Well,
legal now.
that's
Stop
right.
making a big deal
That's
about
right.
it.
I got my marijuana card, and one thing for sure, and two for certain. I tell my children this: if you're ashamed of what you're doing, don't do it. I'm
Don't
not
do
ashamed
it.
of what I do.
That's what I'm saying. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Every day I pour me a beer and a drink. Somebody else do what they doing. Stop worrying about what everybody else doing. And worry about what you doing. Gina, that was a great topic and stuff as usual. Very informative. I'm very passionate. Cece, you've been sitting there waiting on the wings. Let me say this to you, Podcast America, about my wife too. And I can say this. I get to say stuff on the air because she probably meant. Well, she'll still cuss me out on air. That don't mean nothing. But let me tell you something, Gina. My wife and I, we just went out the other day to our one of our friends at the job was having like a retirement little gathering, just an appreciation thing. Shout out to Claudette and everybody to put that together, Abneys, the Livingstons and stuff like
They
that.
was
To put
having a coming out of the pandemic party.
coming out of the pandemic party. I mean, we only went to support them. We had a damn good time, didn't we, baby? We went there
Yeah.
and had a ball. But let me tell you something, Gina. It take my wife so long to get dressed and so long to actually leave out the door. She got to go in the mirror one more time and one more time. I mean, I look at it. My wife now, she does this. She doesn't really eat until like when you eat 6 in the evening or something like that. She can eat
7 o'clock.
smoothies. 7 o'clock. She can't eat nothing all during the day. She eats smoothies. And they look worse. They taste good, but they look terrible. They be green. They be looking nasty. And you got zzz all day long. So yeah, zzz that ninja grill. Food, you know what I mean? I'm looking, I be saying, is that what you gonna eat? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I don't know. But it takes my wife a while to do things. You know what I mean? She procrastinates. When she get dressed, it take her a minute because after she get dressed, she look in the mirror. Then she go look in the mirror because she looked in the mirror. Then she got to look in the mirror because she looked in the mirror and look in the mirror. But for this podcast, you see the top of her, she probably got pajamas on. She might have, and she will go get dressed for this podcast, y'all, in 8 minutes. And I know she can't take her hair, do her thing, put a blouse on and stuff like that. So I know that that's how long it takes. See, I just want to know. I'm saying this for all the men in the world who ashamed and scared to say that to their wife. Why do y'all take so damn long to get ready? I just seen you
Let
get
me
dressed
tell
in
you,
10 minutes.
let me tell you something because I let you get away with this for long enough.
Okay.
No woman that you ever met take longer to get dressed than Maurice takes, especially since he lost weight. I mean, somebody that
We're
gets in the
having
mirror,
technical difficulties. Everybody,
by
turn
the
your
time
television set
that's right. By
off.
the time we get ready, I may have to go back and find out which purse I'm gonna carry or something like that. But this man take longer than any woman that you. By the time he put his diamond studs in his ear, you be ready to go to bed for real.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell y'all something real talk. When I lead this, we talked about self-esteem there. You know, I had this bariatric surgery. If anybody doesn't know, I used to weigh 350, and I was having health issues. You know what I mean? I was taking insulin 5 times a day. You take an insulin in the morning and take insulin at night, and then it got to the point where I was taking it before meals, and I can count. If you take insulin in the morning, that's one. You take insulin at night, that's twice. If you eat 3 meals, that's 5 times. You eat breakfast, lunch, and that's 5 times you're giving yourself this from taking diabetes pills. I didn't even know I was bad because I got along. I was, I thought I was healthy and all, but I didn't. I didn't realize that my health was an issue until I lost the weight. But now that I lost the weight, here it was. I used to wear a waist 46 pants. A waist 46 pants. And I wore 4X and 5X jackets and levers because I like clothes. I like coats. Well, guess what? Now I went from a 46 waist pants. What do I wear now, baby? 32. 32. I went from a 5X to a medium. That's my shirt. So I can't
Wow.
wear nothing clothes. So it's an awesome God we serve. But I say this because now I had to get all brand new clothes. That was the excuse. My wife couldn't say nothing. I've been shopping. I've been shopping. I ain't burning up no charge cards. Nothing like that. Going to the bank and using up our money, right? See, I'm using up our money. So my wife now has went to this thing and she's now on the smoothie cleanse. I guess she said that my husband is in the mirror and trying to look good all the time. I'm gonna make sure that I look good for my husband too. You feel me? So she does this too. I say this because it's funny about your self-esteem, y'all. You don't know. I do stay in the mirror now. I laugh. I stay in the mirror now because guess what? All my clothes are brand new. Not because I got these nice new clothes, because don't nothing else fit no more. You can't fake a 46 waist pants on a 32 person. It's impossible. My shoes was what, 8.5, baby? The doctor told me that's a marvel of science, isn't it? What size shoe I wear now?
A 7.
I wear a size 7 shoe from an eight and a
You
half.
was wearing a 9 when you was fat. Now you wear
Yeah.
a 7.
I wear 9, now I wear 7. The doctor told me that's impossible. So your shoe size don't change. I went down 2 shoe sizes. You know what that was, y'all?
Wow.
That's how much fluid was in my body, and I didn't know. That's how
Yeah.
much
Wow.
fluid was in my body. I didn't know. I just got some Air Max the other day, baby. What were they? 6.5. I
Yeah,
got a good
he
nigga.
it's so funny because now he gotta buy his shoes out the children's department. Because you know men's shoes start at an 8.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
Right, he can't
Yeah.
even wear 8. He gotta go in the children's department and get his shoes
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Shout
Yeah.
out to my buddy Vernon McFadden, you know what I mean, from K&G, who helps dress me now. And he found that place up in where he used to be in Security Mall where they had them sevens, right? They too big.
Right.
I got sweat socks on some of my dress shoes. I got
And,
footies in there.
and another thing, just a little side note on what he's saying. First, shout out to Dr. Solution, the best family
Oh my
practitioner
God.
in the state of Maryland. Believe me. But
Yeah.
you gotta have you a good doctor, people. And you gotta go. And you gotta do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
One thing about our community, especially, is we just don't do the maintenance on our body. We'll go get our oil changed in our car. We'll rotate our
Yeah.
tires. We'll go to the car wash. You know what I'm saying? Nowhere in the world we gonna be caught dead riding around in a dirty car or a car that's making loud noise. But we won't do the same for our body. Go
Hmm.
in there and have those annual checkups. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we think everything is fine. Some of this stuff, diabetes and high blood pressure, silent killers. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that you suffering from this stuff until it's too late. You know what I'm saying? I saw all of when Maurice and I first started dating. I saw all the signs in him. Excessive thirst, going to the bathroom, swelling. Oh, I saw all the classic signs of diabetes in him. But excuse me, had to recognize those signs and then tell him, look, this is what I think is going on with you. I want you to go to this doctor. I've been going to this doctor for years. His father's a doctor. He's a doctor. I went to his father. When the father cut back, I started seeing the son. Best thing ever happened to either one of us, because
Yeah.
he went in there, he didn't even know he was a diabetic. He didn't. And I mean, blood sugar's running over 300. A normal blood
Literally.
sugar is like 99. His blood sugars is running 350, 375. And the doctor was like, you don't feel bad?
They wanted
No.
me to go in the ambulance. They wanted me to leave out there in the ambulance and go to the emergency room. And
Right.
I didn't know.
Because after a while, even if you're not feeling right, that feeling starts to become normal to you. This is how you
Yeah.
always feel. If you're tired all the time, you just think you're just tired all the time. If you're thirsty, you just think I just stay thirsty all the time. But these are signs, and just for us, it's so important because we have so many chronic illnesses that people in our community, black and brown people, uh, diagnosed with every day, and some of these things kill you, and they don't know. You don't know. They don't present any symptoms, any sign. They don't give you any warning, and by the time they start to physically manifest themselves, it's too late. Then you're taking five needles a day by the time you
Yeah.
start to have physical signs.
You
So
know,
just
you know,
just do it. It's important.
people, if you don't know, real talk, y'all, we pay some bills here. Donnie Glover, bmorenews.com, blackusa.news, 10 to 11 every morning, 7 till 8:30 every evening is different talks. Sisterhood. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. Roundtree town hall meeting. We have a bunch of topics and stuff. Y'all, please chime in. Please support us. Um, Black Wall Street. Joe Mann's Black Wall Street. Shout out to Joe Mann. He's the person who has the trophy store, we would call it, but he's always been supportive of this brother, Mr. Lee and Donnie Glover, been doing this for a while. So y'all do what you can to support these people. But real talk, as we talk about these little topics, y'all, we have different formats. Well, our format is always the same, but our topics and our panel, we talk about different things. Today, this is just a regular conversation about some regular things happening to regular people. We're passionate about that. I mean, if you want to hear about who's the next mayor and who do we save the world with and the global warnings, chime in at 10 o'clock in the morning. Donnie and them will give you that information. You want to hear some information about sister bears and talking about lawyers and stuff, jump in there. If you want, I mean, Nicole, my great niece, if you want to find out how to get that relief money for the pandemic, what's it called, y'all? The PMA, what?
The
What is it?
PPP loan.
PPG
P
loan? Yeah. PP. The
E.
loan. There you go. The loan. There you go. That's how I solve everything, y'all. The loan. You want to learn about the loan? Get in there. Holy Roly Bible told us, listen to Karen. Al and them want to talk. You want to be a lawyer. The Brittany and Frank. You know what I mean? Swift elected. But y'all, we talk about some topics. These are some passionate topics today. Gina is serious. Her mother is an educator. She comes from a long lines of educators. So she's appalled that people are getting free passes in school, that you saying you don't have to do anything and you'll be rewarded. But in the field that Cece and I work in, is called rewarding negative behavior. You keep
Yeah.
giving a person something for doing nothing. Why would they do something? You keep
Right.
giving
And
a person something for doing nothing. Go ahead, see.
these same children, I just was gonna say, just jumping in, so you just said something that made me think of something, was that These same children that's failing at school, that their parents don't know what's happening and all of this, they got the latest Jordans on. They got a $200 pair of jeans on. I said, thank you so much, because when we was coming up, if you failed, you ain't getting nothing. Don't even come in the house talking about you want some new Jordans or whatever was out, because you wasn't getting it. That was your reward for doing what you were supposed to do. If you ain't do what you
Absolutely.
were supposed to do, you done, son.
Yeah, that's definitely
And see,
true. I
when you
mean,
got these kids that can't spell and going out here, if they try to fill out a job application, even the employer knows right away you're not qualified,
And
simply by the way you complete an application.
and
hey,
some of these parents are intimidated because they don't have the education, so they don't
right.
feel like they can help their children. You
That
know,
that that piggybacks on what I was gonna say. You're right. See, let me jump in there with this. Let me ask y'all a question to the panel, to the floor. First of all, to BB that's always in there. BB, thank you for being part of it. And our conversation a little while back was telling people thank you to the BBs and stuff like that in the world that's out there fixing the food for 360 people to make sure they have something for Christmas every year. Who's decorating? Who's spending all that time? Tell BB thanks. You know what I mean? Don't wait around just because she's fixing a dinner or something like that. Just say, BB, last week when you fixed all that food, I just wanted to say thanks. Or say, BB, for next year when you get ready to fix the food for the Christmas dinner, BB, thanks. You gotta tell people thanks, honey, for putting up with me all this time and letting me get my life back together, for pushing me to go off to get some medicine in my body, to have y'all know I had the bariatric surgery and the first one didn't take, so I had to get it again. And the man said, well, you can do it this way, and let's give it a chance and let it work. But CC and my doctor, these two snakes, they sit over there. CC said, well, what can we do? He said, well, you can have the surgery again, or you can let it, you can give it a minute. He looked at C and she looked at him, said he want to have it again. My whole insides dropped. This thing was so terrible. I was in such pain. It was so miserable going through it. To go through it again, I wanted to kill myself. But I don't
Mm.
have no say in that. And I said, see, you know what I mean? And she looked at me, hit me with the first hand. Just my wife does that when I'm talking. She got to hit me like I'm a child. You remember your parents? You do that, but you, Gina, you be doing something
Mhm.
like you hit you. That's what Cece do. She hit me when I wanted to cut him off and talk. So she hit me. And I know I got to stop then because it's going to get worse. But while he was talking, he was saying, but if you get this done and stuff like that, then she squares my hand. And that was her way of saying, I got you, baby. I got you. I didn't want to hear that. Now I know that I needed it, right? Because I'm well now. I know I needed it. You need somebody there for you. Cece, thank you. Gina, we had a lot of people on the show. Everybody's trying to help out. I appreciate all Al. I appreciate everybody that's been there with me and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But Gina that's done all this research that stays in this, that stays in the loop. Gina, real talk. Gina, thank you. I mean, thank you. CC swears by you. Donnie swears by you. You know what I mean? They know the
Thank
kind of
you for
work.
having me.
Thank
Shoot.
you and thank you very much for having a team. I mean, we on here like three of us. We rolling. We've been moving around an hour, 20 minutes, and we knocking them down. On that note, come on, CC. Hey, CC, watch this smooth line. I got y'all out there in podcast line. If anybody try this on you, this mine. Let me see. CC. Let me think, CC. What's your topic today? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
I'm Cece, reporting for Party Marty Let's Talk.
That's
And
what's
my
up.
topic and my topic for this evening is I just wanted to touch real quick on, I don't know if you guys have heard about Houston Methodist Hospital. Their employees had to get COVID-19 vaccines by June 7th. And if they didn't get their vaccines by June 7th, then they would be suspended for 2 weeks without pay. And if they didn't get it after that 2 weeks, then their employment will be terminated. So they had 100 plus employees that filed a lawsuit on May 28th saying that the vaccines were unapproved and experimental, and they felt like they were being used as guinea pigs, and they was asking for a temporary injunction against the policy.
The dumbest
So,
shit. God damn.
so they were. This hospital was the first major healthcare system to mandate that employees had to have the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, it was already determined that that it is legal for employer to mandate employees
Yeah.
to have vaccine. They said the same hospital said, well, we've been mandating people to have a flu shot since 2009. And nobody said a word about that. They just went and got the flu shot.
Right.
So the employees, their argument was that the vaccines have only been authorized for emergency use, but not granted formal approval by the FDA, which is true. But the FDA only grants emergency use for a drug because it's new and they haven't had a chance. But if they believe that the benefits outweigh the risk, then they approve it for emergency use. So that's what they did. Now, 165 million vaccines have been administered in the United States. And we are at the lowest COVID-19 level that we've been in last past year. So I don't know. I think that I just wanted to see what I obviously heard what you felt about it, Maurice, but I just wanted to see what y'all felt about that because I mean, I think that sometimes people just want to have something to fight for, because I can't see that anybody wouldn't see, especially working in the healthcare system. I mean, they saw firsthand how overwhelmed the healthcare system was when this thing was at the height of when we were at the height of this pandemic. So I couldn't imagine that somebody that worked in the hospital and saw that up close and personal would not want to protect themselves. You know what I'm saying?
I dare to say they probably all Trump supporters, but I say this, and when anybody tells me, and I just put it to them and I leave them alone. I don't try to convince nobody one way or the other. It's your choice. But I say to myself, find me somebody. If you're not going to get the vaccine, find me somebody, including yourself, that hasn't already had the mumps, measles, rubella, chickenpox, diphtheria shot already before they could start school. Find me somebody. Y'all already had vaccines. So
exactly.
I get it. You trying to say, they tried to kill us with the Tuskegee. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that did happen. But you know what? They ain't gonna pay y'all for no messed up shit now.
Mm-hmm.
They not gonna do that. And what I don't want to happen is all of the other people have the vaccine and we don't.
Right. And the whole thing about it is
we're gonna be the ones to suffer, and it's going to be a next wave.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, it is.
And then go ahead, see.
And I was just gonna say, but they so quick to jump and say, well, somebody I know got the vaccine and they got sick. One thing, that information is power. My husband always laughs and say that I'll read a ketchup bottle. But one thing that people have to realize is that vaccines cause an immune response. Everybody's immune system is different. So it's not that the vaccine made you sick. It's your body. That's your body telling you that it's working.
Exactly.
It's recognizing it, and your immune system is working to fight off what it sees as something foreign in your immune system. That's the way vaccines work. And people don't realize that vaccines are not cures. Nobody said that if you take this, then magically COVID was going to go away. This thing is probably here to stay. You know what I'm saying? This is probably going to be something that we're going to have to deal with and be vaccinated annually like we do for flu shot.
Exactly.
But we see what the alternative is.
Yeah.
We already been stuck in the house for a year. People happy to just walk down the street now. People outside taking walks, doing stuff that they never did outside before, because we have seen the alternative. So sometimes we just gotta be a little smarter about the choices that we make. I understand it's your body and you got a right to make your own decisions and all of this kind of stuff. And kudos to you. But try telling that to the landlord when you get fired and you can't pay your rent.
There you go.
As we go before we segue into Gina's second topic, I can give it to you in my Gina and Governor Hogan's voice. Give me, as Gina say, look at my face. Get the damn shot.
Get the damn shot.
This ain't rocket science. Come on, man. Jeez, what is the matter with people? What is the
Right.
matter with them, man? Some of this is ridiculous. Somebody go off and tell you that's what I say, man. There's two sides of that. As Frank said, my nephew Frank was one of the panel members, you know what I mean? He said some of these young people, that's the problem. When they get it, they think they bulletproof. They think they get it and they can do whatever they want to do. But what about the idiots that didn't get it and still think they can do whatever they want to do? Twyla was talking about that was her problem. The group between 25 and 40, 45, she said, which is her age group. They want to be in Miami. They want to be here. Pump, get it, pump. You want to be around everybody and don't have the shot. Here's some people here's how crazy this is. Here's some people that's taking care of people, parents, grandparents, and stuff like that decide they don't want to have the shot. So you mean to tell me my grandmother that came here for a hysterectomy, or came here because she got a cold, or came here because she broke her leg, now is going to get around you and your pandemic, non-shot taking self, and then get COVID and die because you working in the home? Because you working in the hospital and you didn't gave it to her. We done ducked it all out here, not having her around anybody wearing the mask. Now we done put her in there and she done got it because you don't want to take it.
Right.
You idiot. Run tell that. CC, good topic. And here's some of these things. And it's amazing too to the novice like myself. Most of the topics that we talk about, I don't know any of them. I really don't. That's the first I heard of that. That's the first I heard of that. When I hear it sound so stupid and insane to me, the people that would even think like that. Y'all just think about it. To persons like ourselves, all three of us ourselves, fancy ourselves world travelers. You know what I mean? That sounds like, you ever hear a person say, man, I ain't gonna get on a plane and stuff like that because that plane go down. Do you know how dumb that sounds to people that travel? Do you know more people die in a car accident than die in anything?
Down in a car accident.
Yeah, you get in your car, jump in your car every day and ride anywhere you go, and you ain't worrying about getting died. But you think a plane gonna fall out the air? Young people, old people, everybody. If you don't get on planes and you don't get on boats, first of all, you ain't gonna vacation. Second of all, you got a terrible life if you don't go nowhere.
Right.
No matter what, any place you go of any distance, you know what I mean? You have to either fly or be on a boat. When people talk about driving 16, 17 hours and stuff like that and saving money, do you know how stupid that really sounds?
Right. And even in Florida, they say that the governor in Miami or somebody, I can't get it right quite right now. But anyway, they were telling the cruise ships that they were going to charge them $6,000 for each person that they asked to show them a COVID passport. So now they say that you don't have to be vaccinated to get on the ship. I mean, some of this stuff is just crazy because the cruise ships were saying that people had to have their vaccine card to prove that they had been vaccinated before they could get on the cruise. And Florida said that if the boats was leaving out of Florida and they were going to charge them a $6,000 fine for every person that they asked to prove that they were vaccinated. Why?
It's crazy.
You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. All right, y'all, we got 15 minutes and stuff. Gina Lee. I gave you two because this is your second topic. Why'd you say then I give her one more. Gina Lee, what's your topic? Your second topic tonight. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
Well, real quick, I'm not gonna elaborate on this too long because I know we kind of over time, but I want to say the reason I kind of got into this topic is previously it was disclosed that our honorable Donnie Glover
Hmm.
went to Peabody Conservatory of
Correct.
Music,
Correct.
Peabody Institute. So I made the statement that I went to Peabody as well
Okay.
and graduated.
Okay.
Um, and I just something crossed my mind. I wondered, when did Peabody, or if they ever did, experience segregation? And when did they start accepting Black students? And it wasn't surprising. I'll put it that way. Um, but Peabody himself, when he started the schools around the country, he had gone through a kind of not great childhood. So his whole idea was to provide these learning institutions for people of all races, colors, and creeds. But lo and behold, when Peabody was opened here in Baltimore, the board decided that they were, and it really was not. This the thing. It was never really a written rule. It was just something that they did. They just made it harder, or made it so Black students couldn't get in. And until 1949, the first Black student was entered into Peabody Conservatory of Music, and that was Mr. Paul Brent. Mr. Brent was the head of the music department at my high school, Walbrook High School. So, it really kind of touched my heart, because I said, dang, I was born in 57. They didn't let Black students in until 1955, 2 years before I was born. That's when the policy actually changed. The policy changed, but it was changed with a lot of disdain. They did
Hmm.
not like it. So what happened was, during those years, Douglas High School was considered the place to go for musical training. That's what Peabody did. They opened up a curriculum at Douglas and called it the Colored Music School, and that's where Blacks went. So until 1955, that was the case. And one of the things that kind of really prompted them was Juilliard had already changed their policies many years before Peabody did. Many years. They were accepting Blacks into their curriculum for years. And Peabody, was kind of shamed into changing their policy. Well, in doing that, I thought to myself, I said, oh, maybe I'll kind of bring up a little something that's close to my heart, which is UB Hubert Blake. I'm sure many of you have heard of UB Blake. Well,
I
UB
have.
Blake is my great uncle. And he
Whoa,
was
whoa,
born right.
whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just say that and keep going. UB Blake is
Yeah,
literally, I
literally
mean, not somebody that used to babysit you. He's
no,
literally your great uncle. Literally.
my great uncle, my father's brother,
Is UB Blake.
UB Blake.
That's real cool. That's what's up. So now, I mean, you ever see him? You ever been around him? What?
He's been to my home. He's played on my piano. I
Oh,
saw him when I was about.
he's really your great uncle then. They're real. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been here.
That's
Um,
fucking cool, man.
he I was probably about 11 the last time I saw him.
Uh-huh.
Maybe about that old. But yeah, he's been here. Yep.
That's
And
cool.
he was born in 1883, February, and he died February 1983. He was 100 years old. He died 5 days after his birthday. And
Literally, he was 100.
literally 100 years old. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
cool.
live to be 100. I'm gonna live to be 100 too.
It's
And
in
I'm
your
coming.
blood.
Look, I'm gonna be doing the podcast like, hello, can you hear me? But yeah, he was married twice, and he was buried in Cypress Hill Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York. And on his gravestone, it's his epitaph says, "I'm just wild about Harry," which is one of his famous songs that he wrote for Harry Truman's campaign. One of the plays that he is noted for is Shuffle Along, which was the first, hear me now, the first black, all black Broadway show performed, written, and directed by an all black cast on Broadway. Shuffle Along.
Wow.
And at first he thought it, he thought it wasn't going to be well received. It was sold out to packed audiences for 504 shows.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a
So
long run. 504 shows.
yes.
That's
Yes.
years. That's
Yes.
years.
Yep. He really made an impact into the theatrical industry as well as the music industry. Yep.
Jeannie, you got good blood. You got good blood.
Yep.
That's really cool. Congratulations, Gina, on being from a great family and all that. Hats off, our crew. That's really
I think
cool.
that's why my mother sent me to Peabody. She was hoping I would maybe pick up a gene or two.
Hey, while we shouting out, talking about people, shout out to my big brother Walter Darnell Tate. Gina, that was excellent. You're literally your real uncle. That's cool. That's cool. Live to be 100.
100
Gee,
years old.
yeah, that's real cool. Shout out, as it said, tell somebody thank you. My thank you today is BB for always. I knew her grandkids when they were like 5 or something like that. They was renting moon bounces from me for them kids. His BB's daughter and son-in-law, two awesome individuals, and they rented me like my first water slide, and they just was just cool, just supportive. So I just want to tell them, you know what I mean, thank you. Now they're in college and everything like that. Or we probably out of college, good kids and stuff. But to the BBs that's fixing dinner and stuff like we thank you, man. To the CCs that's being a good wife and take care. Look, you see, I keep hitting the mute button. She up there dealing with my crazy dog Cookie. You know what I mean, jumping back and forth and stuff like that.
She can only take us doing this for an hour. Anything past an hour, she gonna say
you
up
can
while
tell.
My cat
and
has
I'm
been up here with me a couple
out the
times
corner of
too.
my eye.
Yeah, I seen her walk across there, Gina. You know what I mean? So she know her way around. To the Ginas and stuff.
Scratching my leg right now.
Hey, listen, y'all. Okay, we get ready to bring it home in a minute. I want to say this to my brother Darnell, my brother Walter Darnell Tates. Y'all can Google it too. He's an inventor. My brother. I went to an event they were having that they honored him. He was working at Western Electric then, and or AT&T or something like that. And they said, they was talking about who had helped invent the optic fiber crystal, and this person invented 10%, and this person invented this, and Sprint invented that. And they said 37.8% of all optic fibers were invented by Walter Darnell Tates. The optic fibers were invented by Walter Darnell Tates. And he went up and he took his little thing. He didn't tell nobody. He just took me. He's a real humble person. And I'm sitting back looking, and I'm saying, gave him his watch and his little check and stuff. I'm saying, optic fiber crystal, this was so long ago when it was, when you first hearing about it. I said, the optic fiber crystal? He said, yeah, Morris, I did that. I said, well, why aren't you a millionaire and a billionaire? You know what I mean? Well, first thing he said is, I'm a millionaire. But here's the next part. You can't invent these kind of things if you don't work for AT&T. You ain't got no 20 people underneath you. You ain't got no big fancy, what's it called? Laboratories and stuff. You can't invent them. The man is doing this. But if you ever look at a telephone cord, just look in your house. Any cord that you have on the wall, any telephone cord, it has a fire retardant on it. Meaning that if that house catch fire and burn up, that cord is not going to burn up. Sounds crazy. The telephone cord that you have in your house on it, all phone cords, has a fire retardant on it. So you Google that. His name is Walter Darnell Tays. My brother, my big brother, invented the fire retarding cord. Fire
Now we
retardant.
Wow.
talking we talking about real phones for y'all young people that's out
Oh
there in
yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
We ain't talk
yeah,
about the charging that go to your cell phone. We talk about a real corded telephone because we know that y'all that's the only phone.
yeah, yeah. We're
Look,
talking
they
about that.
be out here with matches trying to.
We're burning up their charger cord. That's not the cord we're talking about, people.
Yeah, the cord is the one on the wall on the landline, as they call it. That's
There
funny.
you go.
But yeah, stuff you don't know, people you may want to shout out for them, and that's gonna be another topic. We're gonna let Gina do some research on that, some black inventors and what have you, and UB Blake being her uncle. I
Now,
remember
Gina,
some.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting ready to do now, Gina. My husband gonna be mad because I'm about to spend some of his money. But you told me that story and you got me to thinking. So now you know I gotta do me an ancestry DNA to find out who I might be related to.
There you go.
Baby,
There
you
you go.
always like to call me Denzel Washington. Maybe,
Oh
maybe.
Lord, we ain't talking about you. So I'm gonna
Oh
do that
my.
ancestry thing, and I'm gonna keep y'all posted. I'm gonna tell you on the show if I find any famous ancestors in my background because I
Hey
always been
y'all,
curious about it.
let's get ready to bring this home. I was thinking about that. That's really true.
I've never done that either. I've never done that DNA thing.
I've always been curious about it. I'm gonna do it and see what pop up.
Well, let's see. I mean, maybe what if you found you Donald Trump's great niece or something like that? You know what I mean?
Lord knows, please
Kill
don't tell me
yourself.
See,
nobody.
look at all those people that found out they was related to Thomas Jefferson. Because
I didn't know
Right?
that.
all those white people that didn't want to believe that those black people existed until they
Yeah,
had proof.
Yeah, I did hear
yeah.
something about that. All right, y'all. We get ready to get up out of here. All right, last thing, round the horn. Closing thoughts, CC. Take us home.
Um, that while you're in your mood to say thank you to somebody, for all the parents out there, thank a teacher. Thank a teacher. Everybody just thank a teacher. It's an important job, overworked, underpaid, but it's so important for us and for our children's future. And a little thank you go a long way. Buy your children's teacher a card. Buy a pack of pencils. You know what I'm saying? Give her
Yeah.
an apple. Give her a lunch. Give her Amazon gift card. Do something to say thank you. Don't just talk about how the system is failing your child because it's actually some educators out here that really, really care. So if you don't do nothing but give them a $10 gift card one day just to say thank you, I'm telling you that they will appreciate it.
That was a good one. Very good. That's good closing. Gina Lee, closing thoughts.
Um, I just want to say that remember that we're not here alone. That we need to connect with one another in order to make ourselves great. This is not about it's about us, and we need to work together to make things happen. That's all.
That's good. Hey, I wanna say thank you to my panel. You know what I mean? My closing thoughts is like I'm saying, tell everybody thank you. You know what I mean? Spend a little bit of time making some conscious decisions or conscious effort is a better way of putting it to tell somebody thank you. You know what I mean? For all, Gina, for what you're doing with this show and stuff like that. Gina, thank you. You know what I
Thank
mean? We
you.
keep going. Yeah, thank you. You know what I mean? CC for
Thank
hanging
you.
in there with me. Baby, thank you. Yeah, real talk. Like I'm saying, BB for feeding us for all those years at Perkins, for being the one to go around knocking on, begging people for a couple dollars when they know that they got spending all this kind of money eating and stuff like that. BB for all the times that you reached in your pocket and paid for us to have a Christmas party and put the decorations and the lights up and stuff like that. BB, thank you. Now, to everybody out there in podcast land that's watching our show, thank you. A big special thank you to Donnie Glover, who's given me this opportunity, who keeps us going, is giving me more and more, putting more stuff in on my plate, on our plate and stuff, so that we can get by. Hey, y'all. Hands up to another awesome show. Hands up, panel, to another awesome show. Hands up. Hey, everybody, like we say, all these shows be different. This was a different show. This was a feel good show. This was a show that we just talked about some regular things. You know what I mean? Some information. I hope somebody got something out of it because I sure did. Please join us next Tuesday and every Tuesday at 7 o'clock for It's Party Marty, Let's Talk. To my wonderful wife, Cece, to my action, I mean the geek, you know what I mean, the nerd that reads catch-up bottles, our inventory person, thank you. To our historian Gina Lee, who does all the research, thank you. To our fearless leader Donnie Glover, information is power. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always bring y'all home with my last thing. Y'all know this is not a black show. This is not a white show. It's just an informative show. Y'all know I have a favorite rapper. I don't care if he's white, black, or green. Eminem's my man. And he has a song that he gives y'all. And it simply goes like this. You got to lose yourself. With the music, the moment. I say this situation, you have to own it. You have to never let it go. We got one chance to do this podcast, and we did not miss our opportunity, nor did we blow. This podcast and opportunity came once in a lifetime. Yo, hands up, panel, hands up, panel, hands up to an awesome show. Mr. UB Blake for 100 years of good music. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night,
Good
Gina
night.
Lee.
Good
Good
night.
night, CC. Good
Good
night,
night.
Donnie Glover. Good night,
God
John
bless
Boy. Have an
everybody.
awesome day. And in my Gina Lee and Governor Hogan's voice, just get the damn shot.
Damn,
Good night.
See ya.